Okay, so picture this. I'm a broke single mom, barely making ends meet. My baby is crying, and I'm desperate for formula money. In a moment of sheer panic and exhaustion, I accidentally text some random number, pouring out my heart, asking for help. The person on the other end? A bona fide billionaire. And what happened next? Well, let's just say it wasn't what I expected, not by a long shot. It makes me wonder, if you were in my shoes at rock bottom, would you have even dared to send that message? Or would you have just curled up and given up? I honestly don't know what I would have done if I hadn't been pushed to that absolute breaking point. Let me take you back to the beginning to understand how I, Sarah, a 28-year-old single mother, found myself in such an impossible situation. My life had been a series of unfortunate events, culminating in the birth of my beautiful daughter, Lily. Lily was everything to me, a tiny beacon of pure light in an otherwise dark existence. But with that light came immense responsibility and a financial burden I was simply not equipped to handle. Lily's father, Mark, had been a whirlwind romance, a charming but ultimately unreliable man who disappeared shortly after I told him I was pregnant. He left me with nothing but a broken heart, a mountain of medical bills, and a tiny human who depended on me for everything. I worked 2 minimum wage jobs, one at a coffee shop in the mornings and another as a cleaner in the evenings, but even with those, the money was never enough. Rent was always late, utilities were constantly on the brink of being shut off, and food, well, let's just say ramen noodles became a staple in our diet. The hardest part, the truly soul-crushing part, was when I couldn't afford what Lily needed. Her formula was expensive, and she had a sensitive stomach, so generic brands often made her sick. I remember one particularly cold Tuesday night. I had just gotten home from my cleaning job, my feet aching and my body exhausted. Lily, who was only 6 months old at the time, was wailing in her crib. Not just a fussy cry, but a deep, gut-wrenching sob that tore at my heart. I rushed to her, picked her up, and tried to comfort her, but I knew what the problem was. Her bottle was empty, and the formula canister was scraping the bottom. I had exactly $3.47 in my bank account. The coffee shop paycheck wasn't due for another 3 days, and the cleaning gig paid weekly, also on Friday. 3 days. 3 agonizing days until I could afford more formula. My fridge was bare, my pantry even barer. Panic started to set in, a cold dread that squeezed my chest. I called my mom, but she was in a similar financial bind herself, always struggling to make ends meet after my dad passed away. My only friend, Jessica, was out of town visiting family. I felt completely, utterly alone. I sat on the worn couch, Lily clutched to my chest, both of us crying now. I scrolled through my phone contacts, desperate. Who could I possibly ask? Who could I possibly beg for help without feeling like a complete failure? My pride was a tattered flag, but Lily's hunger was a roaring fire. I remembered a conversation I'd overheard at the coffee shop earlier that day. 2 impeccably dressed women were discussing some charity gala, and one of them mentioned a local billionaire, Mr. Maxwell Thorne, known for his philanthropy. She'd even mentioned his personal assistant's number, which she'd quickly rattled off to her friend, complaining about how hard it was to get a hold of him for a donation. In my exhausted, desperate state, a crazy idea sparked. It wasn't Mr. Thorne's number, but his assistant's, which was probably just as impossible to get through. But what if I just sent a text? Not to ask for $1 million, just enough for formula. It was a long shot, a desperate, irrational act. But what did I have to lose? I fumbled with my phone, my fingers trembling. I typed out a message, my heart pounding against my ribs like a trapped bird. Please, I know this is incredibly out of line, but my baby needs formula and I have no money. I'm a single mom and I'm desperate. Anything, even $50, would be a lifesaver. My name is Sarah. I debated adding, this isn't a scam, I swear, but decided against it. It sounded too fake. I stared at the message, tears blurring my vision. It felt humiliating, shameful. But Lily's cries were growing weaker, and that was a far worse feeling than any humiliation. I closed my eyes, took a shaky breath, and hit send. The instant I did, a wave of regret washed over me. What was I thinking? This was insane. I probably just texted some random stranger who would laugh at me, or worse, report me. I braced myself for a cold, dismissive reply, or no reply at all. After what felt like an eternity but was probably only about 5 minutes, my phone vibrated. My heart leaped into my throat. I cautiously opened the message. It wasn't a "who is this?" or a "stop bothering me." It was short to the point. "Who gave you this number?" My stomach dropped. I had clearly made a mistake. I typed back, "I'm so sorry, I overheard it. I know it's not appropriate, but I really am desperate. My baby needs formula." Another agonizing pause. Then a new message. This one was different. "This is not Mr. Thorne's assistant. This is Mr. Thorne himself. And no, you didn't overhear my assistant's number." My blood ran cold. Mr. Thorne himself? The billionaire? My face burned with shame. I had not only bothered him, but lied about how I got the number. I was about to apologize profusely, to beg him to forget I ever existed, when another message came through. "Tell me your story, Sarah. And don't leave anything out." My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the phone. What did he mean? Was this a test? A cruel joke? I decided to be completely honest. I had nothing left to lose. I poured out my heart, describing my jobs, Lily's father, the struggle, the empty formula canister, the 3 days until payday. I even sent him a picture of Lily, sleeping fitfully now, her tiny face pale. It was a risk, a huge one, but something in his directness made me feel, for a fleeting moment, that he wasn't just going to dismiss me. So that's the situation I was in, completely exposed and vulnerable, and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause right now and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have kept texting, laid bare your entire life to a stranger who happened to be a billionaire, or would you have just retreated, assuming it was a lost cause? Seriously, let me know what you think, because I honestly still second-guess my decision to keep going. The next message I received was a game changer. "Send me your address, Sarah." My jaw practically hit the floor. My first thought was he's going to send the police. He thinks I'm a scammer or a stalker. But then, a tiny spark of hope, almost immediately extinguished by my cynical brain. Still, what choice did I have? I sent my address, my heart thudding in my chest. Less than an hour later, there was a knock on my door. I peered through the peephole, my breath catching in my throat. Standing on my porch was a man in a sharp suit, holding a large grocery bag. He looked like he'd stepped right out of a magazine. Before I could even process it, he spoke. "Sarah? I'm Mr. Thorne's driver. He sent me." I opened the door, my mind reeling. The driver, a kind-faced man named George, handed me the bag. Inside, I found not just one, but 3 large cans of Lily's specific formula, along with a variety of baby food jars, diapers, wipes, and a brand new blanket. And at the bottom, tucked neatly, was an envelope. "Mr. Thorne said to tell you, he hopes Lily feels better soon," George said with a warm smile. I mumbled a thank you, my voice choked with emotion, and watched him leave. I tore open the envelope, my hands still shaking. Inside was a check. Not for $50, not for $500. It was for $5,000. My vision swam. $5,000. It was more money than I had ever seen at one time in my entire life. There was also a small, elegantly written note. "Sarah, desperation is a powerful motivator. Use this wisely. A good mother always puts her child first. Should you ever need genuine assistance again, you now have my actual assistance number. This one." And below it, a different number. I sat there on the floor, surrounded by formula and diapers, clutching that check, and just wept. Not tears of sadness, but of pure, overwhelming relief. It felt like a miracle. That night, Lily had her fill of formula and slept peacefully. For the first time in months, I didn't have to worry about how I would feed her the next day. The $5,000 wasn't a permanent solution, but it was a lifeline. It bought me time. I used a portion of it to pay off some overdue bills, ensuring our electricity wouldn't be cut. I bought healthy groceries, something I hadn't been able to do in ages. And most importantly, I invested in myself. I enrolled in an online course for administrative assistant work, something that paid significantly more than my current jobs. I knew this was my chance, my one shot, and I wasn't going to squander it. Over the next few months, I worked harder than I ever had. I studied late into the night after Lily was asleep, fueled by coffee and the hope that Mr. Thorne had rekindled within me. I aced the course, updated my resume, and started applying for better jobs. It wasn't easy. There were countless rejections, moments of doubt, and times when I felt like giving up. But then I would look at Lily's smiling face, or remember that initial kindness from a complete stranger, and I would push through. Eventually, after what felt like an eternity, I landed a job as an administrative assistant at a small marketing firm. The pay was nearly triple what I was making before, and it came with benefits. For the first time, I could afford a decent apartment in a safer neighborhood, and I could provide for Lily without constantly being on the edge of financial ruin. I never contacted Mr. Thorne directly again, not after that first exchange. But I did write him a heartfelt thank you letter, explaining how his unexpected generosity had changed our lives and given me the opportunity to build a better future for Lily and myself. I sent it to the actual assistance number he had given me, hoping it would reach him. I never received a reply, but that was okay. His gift had already spoken volumes. My life isn't perfect now, no life ever is, but it's stable. Lily is thriving, a bright, bubbly toddler who lights up my world. I still work hard, but it's no longer a desperate scramble for survival. It's about building a foundation of future. I often wonder what made Mr. Thorne respond that way. Was it simply his philanthropic nature? Or did something in my desperate plea resonate with him? I'll probably never know the full answer, but I'm eternally grateful. The lesson I took from all of this is that even in your darkest moments, when you feel completely alone, sometimes, just sometimes, a ray of unexpected kindness can break through the clouds and change everything. So, that's my story. A testament to desperation, a mistaken text, and the incredible generosity of a stranger. It makes me believe that sometimes, when you're at your lowest, asking for help, even from the most unlikely source, can open doors you never even knew existed. Like this video if you were on my side and rooting for me and Lily throughout this whole ordeal. Subscribe for more stories like this, because I promise there are so many more incredible tales of human experience out there. And please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comment section below. What do you think about what Mr. Thorne did? Would you have done the same? I'll see you all in the next story.